Sony might just be preparing to shake up the mirrorless camera world again with the long-rumored Sony A7V, and the internet is buzzing with leaks, whispers, and early details that have creators, filmmakers, and photographers everywhere paying close attention, wondering if this will be the next major leap in Sony's all-rounder full-frame lineup or just another minor refresh. So let's unpack every credible leak, rumor, and insider hint available right now. Because by the end of this breakdown, you'll know what's likely real, what's just hype, and whether waiting for the A7V might actually make sense for your next upgrade. According to multiple reports, Sony is gearing up for a B-Alpha event this October in Barcelona, which many believe could finally mark the official unveiling of the A7V, though shipments may not start until early 2026. The timing fits Sony's usual release rhythm, dropping new A7 bodies roughly every 3 years. And given how successful the A7A4 was, the A7V needs to deliver something that feels like a meaningful evolution, not just a spec bump. Let's start with the leaks themselves. Several images have surfaced showing a camera body strikingly similar to the A7i4. Same sturdy build and ergonomic grip, but with one big visible change, a fully articulating vari-angle screen. That one design tweak alone has the content creation crowd excited. Because Sony's semi-tilt screens were always functional, but not fully flexible for vlogging, vertical content, or low-angle creative shots. A fully articulating display changes the shooting experience completely, especially for solo filmmakers who need to monitor themselves while filming. The leaked images also hint at subtle body tweaks, maybe refined buttons or slightly improved weather sealing, but the general DNA remains the same. Sony seems to be following the "if it isn't broken, refine it" philosophy. Now, let's talk sensors, because that's where the speculation really heats up. Some reports claim the A7V will stick to a familiar 33-megapixel sensor, likely a re-engineered version of the one used in the A7V, focusing on faster readout speeds, better heat management, and improved dynamic range. Others, though, insist Sony might bump it up to a brand new 44-megapixel sensor, designed to push detail and resolution closer to what we've seen in high-end models like the A7RV. The 33mm rumor makes sense for maintaining fast performance and great low-light capabilities, while the 44mm idea appeals to photographers who crave extra detail and cropping flexibility. Either way, it's clear that Sony's focus isn't just about more megapixels, it's about improving the readout speed to fight one of the A7iV's biggest weaknesses, rolling shutter. And that's where things get exciting for video shooters, because leaks suggest Sony is preparing to seriously upgrade the video engine this time around. The A7V might deliver true 4K 120fps recording, possibly with no crop, which would be a massive win for hybrid creators who shoot cinematic slow motion or action footage. Add in a faster readout, and you could finally see rolling shutter nearly eliminated from the A7 line, something users have begged for since the A7 III. Pair that with 10-bit 422, color, S-Cinetone profiles, and maybe even internal RAW options or ProRes via firmware, and you've got a body that's not just a stills camera, but a legitimate video powerhouse in compact form. Of course, none of this means much if thermals aren't handled well, but if Sony's learned from the FX30 and ZVE1 cooling systems, we might see longer record times even at high bit rates. Then there's autofocus, the feature Sony is already king of, but apparently ready to enhance even further. Rumors suggest the A7V will include a next-gen AI-assisted AF processor, similar to what we saw in the A7RV, designed to detect and track subjects more intelligently, whether it's eyes, animals, vehicles, or even insects. That means faster, more accurate subject recognition in unpredictable lighting, and more dependable tracking during video shoots. And for creators who often work solo, that's a quiet revolution. The ability to trust your camera to hold focus perfectly while you move freely in front of it. Combined with an expected boost in burst speed, possibly up to 20 frames per second, the A7V might actually start to edge into pro sports or wildlife territory, blurring the line between an everyday hybrid and a semi-pro performance camera.
Now about stabilization. Sony's in-body image stabilization,
or IBIS, has been one of its strongest points, and leaks point to an improved version here, maybe offering up to 8 stops of compensation, which could make handheld 4K footage butter smooth. Imagine pairing that with a vari-angle screen and AI autofocus. That's vlog heaven right there. On the usability side, Sony seems to be refining rather than reinventing. Expect similar menu systems, dual card slots, and improved button feel, But the big usability win really is that screen. For a lot of people, that single change makes the A7V worth the wait. As for connectivity, the A7V is expected to come with faster USB-C transfer speeds, possibly USB 3.2 Gen 2, and support for high-speed CF Express Type A or faster SD UHS-2 cards. Wireless improvements are also on the table. Better Bluetooth, faster Wi-Fi for live streaming or FTP uploads, and smoother tethering for studio work. These may seem minor, but they make real differences in day-to-day workflows. Battery life will likely stay similar, though Sony might squeeze in a few more minutes thanks to efficiency improvements. Now let's talk price, because of course that's where things get spicy. Early leaks from European markets hint at a starting price near $3,000, which translates roughly to around $2,800 to $3,200 in the US. That puts it just above where the A7IV launched, which makes sense considering inflation, higher production costs, and feature upgrades. It's also directly in line with what Canon and Nikon have done with their hybrid cameras, the R6 Mark II and Z6 III, so the A7V's pricing feels competitive if the rumored specs hold up. And that brings us to competition. Nikon's Z6 III recently made waves with its bright display and fast readout, and Canon's R6 Mark II is beloved for its color science and usability. So for Sony, the A7V is not just another camera, it's a statement. A test of whether they can keep the mid-tier hybrid crown in a market where competitors have closed the gap. If Sony nails rolling shutter, adds real 4K 120, and improves the screen, they'll likely keep their edge. But if the changes feel too incremental, many creators might simply hold on to their A7V or Jump brands. The biggest takeaway here is this: the A7V doesn't need to reinvent the wheel. It just needs to perfect it. And based on Sony's history, that's probably exactly what we'll get. A refined, mature, flexible camera for creators who shoot everything from weddings to travel documentaries to YouTube content. Now, of course, the question everyone asks: should you wait or upgrade? If you already own the A7IV and shoot mostly photos, you're probably safe to skip this one unless that rumored 44 megapixel sensor turns out real and you need that resolution. But if you're a filmmaker, content creator, or hybrid shooter who's been craving faster frame rates, better stabilization, and a true flip screen, the A7V might finally be the perfect fit. For newcomers who are debating between the A7 IV, the FX30, or even Canon's R6 II, the A7V could easily become the go-to hybrid choice of 2025. It's also worth remembering that Sony typically updates its color profiles and codecs with each generation, so expect improvements in tone rendering, noise handling, and skin color accuracy. For pros shooting events, that alone might be worth the wait. Of course, everything we've discussed still sits in rumor territory until Sony makes it official. But this wave of leaks, from the new screen to the possible sensor upgrades, lines up too perfectly with Sony's past behavior to ignore. The B Alpha event in mid-October is where most eyes are pointing, and if Sony